do not try to use AI to write your code. Basically, don't try to use AI in learning. Maybe you can use it in debugging, but that is after trying to debug by yourself. We have a community. Try to ask questions when you experience a challenge. Don't simply run to AI. You can ask questions from anyone in the community. We have our WhatsApp. You can type in your questions. We also have a Discord channel. Basically, don't rely on AI. AI will have an impact on you in terms of your learning. You will think that you're learning, but you're not really learning. There will be gaps in your knowledge, and it can be an issue when you will try to look for jobs out there. So the best way to do it is try to learn by using documents, using resources other than using AI. But you can use AI for roadmaps and such, but don't use it to generate your code. For debugging, I've said you can use it, but that is after trying to debug the errors yourself. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is the skeleton or a structure of a web page. It is not a programming language. It is a way of labeling content, so the browser knows what is a heading, a paragraph, or an image. This is a simple boilerplate. This is basically something that does not change when you have an HTML file. You don't just you need to provide the browser with specific setup information. So this is the setup information. Most of the time, you don't need to type all this manually. I can show how you can do it. So this index for an HTML file, you start by index and the extension .html. So, okay, we have an index.html file. You first start by typing the exclamation mark, then you press enter, and it will give you the boilerplate code. As you've seen, this is basically the structure. Before you start any typing, any coding, this is the structure of the HTML. I hope you can see. Anyone please confirm?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so this is the breakdown of the boilerplate elements. We have type HTML. This is basically, it tells the browser this is a modern HTML document always. So yeah, this will always be there, and it simply communicates to the browser that the type of document it is. This tells the browser the language for this. This is the brain of the page. It contains metadata, as you see here. Okay, these are nested elements within the boilerplate. But the head, these are what we call elements. We have closing and opening elements. This is a tag for an opening tag, and we have a closing tag. These are tags within other tags, that is, they are nested. So it contains metadata info about the page, that is, the user don't see, like titles and links to CSS. Later look at how to link the HTML page that we just created with CSS. And meta set, this ensures all special characters like emojis or foreign symbols display correctly. For this is crucial for responsive design. It tells how to scale the page depending on the screen that will be opening the page. That is, you can have mobile screens, laptops, and other devices. The title simply sets the text that appears on the browser tab. For example, we can look at this. This is basically the title, and if you go and look at this in the web, you will look at it appearing at the tab. It should be appearing here. Okay. This is supposed to be appearing on the tab. For the body, it is the heart of the page. That is where all your content will be. It will be enclosed in this body tag. Everything you put here, that is the text, images, buttons, and that is actually what will be displayed to the user. So here we have common tags and attributes. These are headers from 1 to 6. This is the largest one. As you go down all the way to 6, the sizes decrease, the font size decrease. This is a paragraph simply for enclosing text and elements within the body tag. For links, we use the A tag, that is, it uses the href attribute to tell the link where to go. For images, we uses the source for the image part and health for the text description. There are so many tags. These are very short number of them. There's so many tags. I'll share a document if I'll be able to find one with all the tags. And for attributes, they're simply data within the tags. For example, this link, we have this URL to the google.com. So it is an attribute because it simply provides more information about the link tag. As it provides sex information about an element, they always go inside the opening tag. I think you've seen how an open element, an open tag looks like, and a closing tag. So this is how an opening tag looks like, and you can see there is a difference between the opening tag and the closing tag. The closing tag has a slanted stroke before the head word, very simply to simplify the end. But there are other tags that do not need any closing. We'll look at that. Okay. We can do a small introduction to CSS. I'm trying to rush because of time. We've wasted your time because of the link issue. Introduction to CSS, we have, first of all, CSS is also not a programming language. It is similar to HTML, but both of them are not programming language. CSS is a cascading style sheet. That is what it stands for in full. If HTML is the skeleton, CSS is the skin. Basically, it makes the content in the HTML, it styles the content in your HTML page. I think everyone is familiar with what CSS is. So how you apply CSS, there are several ways. That is inline. You directly type the styling inside the HTML tag, but it is not recommended for large projects unless you're styling small elements. We have internal, that is inside the style tag element in the head section, and then we have external. This is where you just have a separate CSS file. This is the best practice for large projects, especially if you're doing a small project, you can use an internal, but for best practice, use an external. That is a separate CSS file. So this is basically how the CSS code looks like. We have the selector, that is, for example, when you want to style the heading, this is the H1. We have the color, this describes the color of the font size, the margin bottom, that is the margin between the header tag, the heading and the next element. Don't be surprised. These are comments, CSS comments, multi-line comments. Then we have here, this is still different styling, but this is where we have a class or a div element. So when you want to style that div or class, you have to start with a dot, then highlight the text. This is basically the background of the text. So you can see here, we'll look at how to connect the HTML file and the CSS file. Let's have a script. We'll now look at the web ecosystem. I'm sure you are aware that we have the web is split into two main areas. We have the front end and the back end. We've basically been looking at the front end. We've not touched the back end. So the front end is the client side, everything that the user sees and interacts with. That is the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. When you continue to learn more, we'll meet other frameworks, things like React. But basically, the front end is what the user sees. For the back end, the server side, this is what the user can't see. It's basically what drives the website. That is, if the website needs a server side, or if it needs to handle things like requests and all that data. So this is the brain behind the scene. It handles databases, user accounts, and security. There are several. You have Node.js, you have Python, SQL. SQL is a database. We also have Next.js. Those are just a few. We also have, is it PHP? Yeah, those are just a few. Here I've listed a few tools that you can use. We have VS Code. That is, you are aware, this is simply the VS Code, the text editor. That is not new to you. We have browsers. That is basically, I don't know why it's okay. We have in the browser, you have this link. This is basically where you can look at the error from your code. You can check for errors. It will help you in terms of debugging. For hosting, for GitHub, we had already looked at GitHub. It is a place to store and share your code projects. It's basically a platform, a cloud platform to store your projects. So hosting or domain. Hosting is the rental space on a server. The domain is the address. So for hosting, we have platforms like Vercel, Render, that is for a server. We have Heroku. Which one? The other platforms we have GitHub pages. Those are basically platforms that are free, but for render it has a limited request because of the high duty of the backend, obviously. But for Vercel, it is free. I think also GitHub pages is free as well. Heroku is limited, but it's a server side hosting as well. For base practices, I had a few file naming, already naming your main page. Okay, simple folder structure. Keep a consistent folder structure for your projects. Use comments to explain your code, especially if you're doing a huge project. You'll need to go back to read your code. So for summary, we've looked at what a web is. We've looked at it as a collection of documents accessed via the internet. We've seen what the internet is. We've looked at HTML, a simple structure. We've looked at CSS as well. We know what the CSS does, and we know what the purpose of the HTML. And we also know the purpose of the browsers. So if you don't know how to see your HTML file in the browser, you can right click. That is, if you have live server install the extension, you can right click, or you can just use this link here. That is, if you have live server installed. So basically, browsers will help you when you are writing your code. It will help you visualize what you're doing before you even deploy. It can also help you in debugging. See, that is what I had. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Okay, so niko na swali hapa. Juzi tulikuwa na workshop Kimaro alinisaidia tukajua tuko na lab yangu edition yake iwezi support nini ile inaitwaje like tuliona tuweke WSL so juzi nika download na nikaweka, but sasa kuna hii part ya terminal, si lazima uweke terminal, so after ku download then sasa nikifungua lazima ifungue Microsoft Store yangu ndio sasa i-complete the other details zenye haija download kwa Microsoft Store. But Microsoft Store yangu haifunguki, like inasema check your network, but iko already connected into the net. So nikaenda hapo YouTube nikajaribu sometimes, I think ni jana, then nikasema juu tutakuwa na meeting nitaulizia nione kama kuna njia zingine naweza fanya naweza mkoa mkijua naweza resolve hiyo problem ya Microsoft Store.
Ulikuwa unataka kutumia WSL kufanya?
Nilikuwa natumia nini ndio ya kuhost Linux like ndio nilikuwa nataka nitumie hiyo ni ya Odin project. Juu unaona sasa wao wanasoma through Linux.
Oh yeah. So I don't really know the issue. Sijui kama Kimaro anaweza chip in because I can't see the issue.
In that scenario, I recommend reinstalling your Microsoft, your Windows, because if your browser has internet and Microsoft Store does not, then there's no issue with the laptop hardware or drivers because internet is there. And if it was a third-party software, I would have said you can check if it's blocked. But on a default installation of Windows, Microsoft Store is never blocked. So yeah, I would recommend just reinstalling your copy of Windows, and avoid installing Windows from third-party sites, right? Like recently, I tried to get a pre-cracked copy of. Not sure if I should share this since it's gonna be uploaded to YouTube, but yeah, I think when I tried to install that, when I was trying to update, you go to Windows Updates and install the updates, you get a warning that you are not in the latest version of Windows, and there is no update to install, right? So that's why I like to just download Windows from Microsoft.com itself, so that you don't have such issues. And I think you can try that. If there are any issues with a copy from Microsoft.com, then now you can try some other way. But for now, I think that the best part. Also, in terms of WSL, I wouldn't recommend you use. I wouldn't recommend you use. Okay, I don't know. Maybe some of you have some powerful machines, but personally, unless it's a must, I don't really. I'm not a huge fan of using WSL on Windows. Of course, it has the benefit of being lightweight compared to having dual, maybe running it in a virtual machine, but still, it's not that. I would say if you install the extension, right, WSL on VS Code, and you try to boot up VS Code, and you see like how long it takes for VS Code to connect to WSL, and you'll be doing that every single time, and then it also slightly messes up with although I'm not sure, it's been a while since I used WSL in VS Code. I think in my part, I just recommend just use VS Code on Windows, and for the most part, I think if you have Git installed, right? If you have Git installed, nothing much changes. Nothing much changes, because just skip that part where you are supposed to learn Linux basics. You can save that for another time, and then continue with be it HTML, Git, and GitHub. Once you have Git installed and you have Node installed, there's nothing else much that will disrupt you, that would say maybe will be different on Linux. So yeah, I think I mentioned that in the video, so you can go and also review, because I also told you that I know that the platform recommends Linux, but it's not really a must, right? It's not really a must, because if you are doing something like C, then it will be different because of the compilations. But in our case, you're just creating a folder and opening that folder with VS Code, creating files, writing code in the files, opening the file with live server, and basically until you get to React, that's mostly what you'll be doing. And even when you get to React, you'll just be using Node to create that project, and there's no difference. So I wouldn't really, unless you are curious about wanting to know Linux, then by all means you can still install WSL and try out some commands in the terminal. But beyond that, there isn't really much of a difference.
Okay, thank you. I think I will take the advice on continue with the VS Code because at the end of it all, I just need to learn the code, and then later after I learn the code, then I can be more curious on learning now how to use Linux.
Okay, anyone else with a question?
Oh, I have another. What's a LLM? I heard you guys talk about it all the time. It's like kitu mnashindananga ama kitu mnafanyanga. So hiyo ni nini?
Oh, an LLM is something like I don't know. Can I consider ChatGPT as an LLM? It is basically an AI. I'm not sure. Somebody can chip in on that, but I think it's simply an AI model like ChatGPT, Gemini. It's not something like a competition. I don't know why you think it's something like a competition. Tomorrow, can you provide more details on it? Okay, let me try. So an LLM stands for large language model. It is basically an AI system trained to understand and generate human language. As I said, something like GPT. I think it learns from the massive data that is usually used to train the AI models. I think that's why Gemini offers free versions for students to gather data. It's not for your own benefit. I think the main reason they usually give free uh, versions to students for a limited period of time is for them to have data and make more improvements on the AI system. So I hope your question is answered.
Yeah. It's well. Thank you.
Anyone else with a question? Okay, if there is no other question, go and experiment with HTML and CSS. Don't wait for the next session. Learning coding is more about you rather than what we can do for you. It is more about the effort that you yourself will put in. So go and experiment, try to learn, just be curious. You can try the platform that is the Odin, very simply the name of it. You can go through the introduction part. It has a very good advice for beginners. So yeah, go and experiment. Don't wait for us to come and show you everything. You can try experimenting. If you experience any challenge, you can share with the community. We have a Discord channel. We also have WhatsApp. So if you experience any challenge, just if you don't want to share with the group, you can contact anyone, any of us, that is Kimaru or Valentine or me. We will be able to help you. Oh, thank you for joining the session for today. Uh, and before I close, is there anyone with a question? Okay, so thank you for joining in. Have a good night.